After my family went bankrupt, I was married off to a notorious player in our social circle. He was known as a sea king, a term for a complete philanderer. On our first day of marriage, he tossed me a bank card, coldly stating that the only thing he could give me was money. Not only that, he acted completely disgusted by me. He insisted on doing all the housework himself and refused to let me touch anything in his villa. 3 years passed like this. I decided I wanted a divorce. But when I brought the divorce papers to his study door, I heard his choked sobs from inside. It's been 3 years. I've served her for 3 whole years. I give her 10 million won every month, I cook for her every single day, and I still can't move her. His best friend's angry voice cut through. I told you to stop putting on this act. You're a married man, what's the point of building this she-king image? The truth is, after my family went bankrupt, I was sent to the Chu family for a marriage alliance. The Chu family is prestigious, known for their education, power, and wealth. Logically, they would never have considered a fallen heiress like me. But ironically, the Chu family's second young master, Julian Chu, was a notorious playboy. A well-known sea king. The list of his ex-girlfriends was too long to count. Because of this, all the women from stable families who had a choice in marriage looked down on him. Julian's parents were worried sick about their son's marital prospects. The moment they learned my family was bankrupt, they immediately sent a matchmaker with an offer. If I agreed to marry Julian, they would pay off all my family's debts. Even though my family had collapsed, we were still seen as a respectable line. I had graduated from a prestigious university, I was presentable, and I had a gentle, warm personality. I perfectly fit their image of an ideal daughter-in-law. My parents looked at me, torn. The offer was incredibly tempting, but they knew exactly what kind of man Julian was. I just nodded lightly. No problem. I'm ready to get married anytime. My reasoning was simple: instead of ending up with some random scumbag later in life, I might as well marry a rich scumbag now. Although I had heard countless stories about Julian, the day we registered our marriage was the first time I actually met him. He didn't look like the sea king I had imagined. He was wearing a light blue cotton shirt, the thin fabric unbuttoned at the top, revealing a hint of his collarbone. A pair of gold-rimmed glasses only added to his refined air. He exuded a calm, sophisticated aura. It was hard to believe this man was the notorious player. It just proves you can't judge a book by its cover. Julian didn't seem to like me at all. Throughout the entire registration process, he didn't say a single word to me, his face cold as ice. But when he received the marriage certificate, he froze for a second. His hand, holding the paper, trembled slightly. Perhaps even he couldn't believe that a sea king like him had suddenly stumbled into marriage. We didn't have a wedding ceremony. After the paperwork was done, I moved straight into his villa. That day, he handed me a card and said, "I'll transfer 10 million won to this card every month. Spend whatever you want. I don't have anything else. The only thing I can give you is money." I accepted it calmly. This was just a marriage of convenience. After all, there were no emotions involved. He was being upfront from the start and wasn't stingy. I had no complaints. I nodded and started to pull my luggage toward the guest room. I'd heard Julian often brought women home. I knew my place and didn't want to be a bother. Julian stiffened, his face hardening for a moment, before he called out, "Hannah, where are you going?" I looked at him, slightly surprised. "I heard your villa gets a bit lively at night. I thought I'd sleep in the living room." Julian looked confused. "Are you afraid of the noise? I already had the housekeeper install soundproofing in the master bedroom. You don't need to move." I decided to be more direct. "No, it's not that. I heard you often bring your female friends to the villa. I don't want to disturb you all." Julian's face suddenly turned bright red. "No, that's just..." But seeing my skeptical gaze, he scratched his head and nodded awkwardly. "Yes, that's right. I do bring girlfriends home sometimes. You know, a sick king like me can't avoid that kind of socializing. How about this? I'll sleep in the guest room, you stay in the master bedroom. Don't worry, I won't let anyone disturb you." I raised an eyebrow. Them. Julian really was a smooth operator. While I was still processing this, Julian had already carried my luggage to the master bedroom and started unpacking for me. My clothes were hung neatly in the closet, my makeup was arranged tidily on the vanity, and even my socks were folded into perfect pairs. Watching him work so proficiently, I couldn't help but sigh. Do sea kings have to compete on thoughtfulness these days too? By the time Julian had finished putting all my things away, he seemed to realize what he'd just done. He froze on the spot. We stared at each other, neither of us knowing what to say for a moment. "You're surprisingly thoughtful," I said, Julian quickly avoided my gaze. No, don't get the wrong idea. I get it, I interrupted. You have a lot of dating experience, so it's become a habit. I won't misunderstand. Julian hesitated then nodded firmly. Yes, that's right, that's exactly it. I've had so many girlfriends I'm used to it. Taking care of them just became a habit. Don't mind it. I waved my hand. It's fine. I don't mind. Everyone has a past. Julian suddenly seemed to remember something. He looked at his watch. Oh, I have a meeting. After the meeting around 5 p.m., I'll cook dinner for you. What do you want to eat? I almost couldn't believe my ears. Wait. You're gonna cook for me. Julian froze again, but this time he recovered faster. I know. Sorry, I was just using my watch to message my friend. I had promised to cook dinner for her. You don't mind, do you? I replied calmly. It's fine. I understand. But as I watched the Patek Philippe on his wrist when he left, I found it a little strange. Since when could a mechanical watch send messages? I had assumed Julian wouldn't be home that night. The rumors all said he spent every night in clubs and rarely slept at home. Yet, at exactly 6 p.m., he appeared at the door. He didn't even use his key, he politely rang the doorbell, waiting for me to open it. When the door swung open, Julian looked a bit embarrassed. Is anyone home? Am I disturbing you? I never expected Julian to be so conscious of boundaries. He was implicitly making it clear we should mind our own business. But he also didn't want to cause me trouble. Honestly, I found this kind of man, who knew how to keep his distance, rather likable, so I couldn't resist teasing him a bit. Yes, there is someone home, and they're not wearing any clothes. Who are you looking for? Julian's face immediately turned white. Sorry, I really didn't know. I just thought you hadn't eaten dinner, so I brought some food for you. If I knew you had a friend over, I would have bought an extra portion. Julian looked genuinely panicked, not like he was acting at all. I decided to stop teasing him. There's no one here. I was just kidding. I opened the door wider. Come in, it's fine. I don't mind. Although he said he didn't mind, the moment Julian stepped inside, his eyes scanned the entire house. Only after confirming there was really no one else did he let out a visible sigh of relief. He placed the food containers on the table and opened them. I didn't know what you like, so I just picked a few dishes. I looked at the containers. The colorful, aromatic home-cooked meal stunned me. Did you cook this? Julian nodded. But then quickly shook his head denying it. No. Actually, I was gonna cook for my friend, but she was worried I'd be tired, so she made it all. I took a bite and couldn't help but blurt out, "This is delicious." Julian's eyes lit up. Really? Then I'll ask her to cook for you every day from now on. I looked up, my eyes wide with surprise. Didn't you just say she cooked it? Julian quickly corrected himself. Yes. My friend cooked it. If you like it, I'll ask her to cook daily. I can even have her come here to cook, so it's fresh when you get home. I was speechless. That didn't seem right. Having his mistress cook for his legal wife, it felt bizarre, but Julian didn't seem to see any problem. So what? I racked my brain for a reason to object. Won't it be too much trouble for her? Not at all, he said. You know I'm a sea king. I'm very charming. If I ask her to cook, one word is all it takes. I fell silent. It seemed Julian was still very proud of his sea king title. And so, on workdays, I'd come home from my shift to a meal cooked by Julian's mistress. The food on the table was always steaming hot, but I never once met this woman. Until one day I couldn't hold back anymore and asked him, "Why doesn't your friend eat with us? She cooks so much every day we can't finish it all. Wouldn't it be better to invite her to eat with us?" Hearing this, Julian's hand trembled slightly. My friend, she's very introverted, she doesn't like eating with others. Besides, she doesn't have any official status, so she probably doesn't want to meet you. See, on weekends when you're home, she doesn't come to cook. Isn't that obvious? I nodded, half convinced. It seemed plausible. But then I happened to glance at a scratch on Julian's hand. What happened to your hand? How did you get hurt? Julian seemed unconcerned. It's nothing. I just accidentally cut myself with a knife while slicing meat. I was surprised. But wasn't your friend cooking? Julian looked at the cut and stammered, "Well, sometimes she's busy, so I help out a bit. You wouldn't understand, it's a little game between us." No, I really didn't understand. My married life with Julian couldn't be called happy, but it was peaceful. For at least 2 years a hot meal was always on time. Julian never bothered me, and arguments were even rarer. But ever since Julian and I got married, many people started mocking me. Right now, a group at the next table in this restaurant was eating and gossiping about me with great interest. Hannah Jiang used to be so arrogant, turning down so many young masters. In the end, she married a sea king like Julian. She's lucky Julian even married her. I heard her family was drowning in debt, and the Chu family paid it all off. Living with someone as scandalous as Julian, Hannah must be miserable. My best friend, Elise Lynn, nudged me. Are you just going to let them talk? You're the young mistress of the Chu family. I took a sip of my drink. How can I refute them? Tell them my husband isn't a sea king, and that I'm living well. They'd totally believe that. Elise thought for a moment. You've got a point. You're too good at keeping secrets. I go study abroad for 3 years, and when I come back, you're already married. We chatted every day and you never said a word. Do you even see me as a friend? I laughed. If you knew back then that I had to marry Julian because my family went bankrupt, wouldn't you have flown back from overseas to stop me? Besides, it's not so bad. Even though his reputation is awful, my life isn't terrible. Suddenly, Elise gave me a sly look. Be honest. How are things, between you and Julian? Is he good? He's a sea king, so at least that part must be good. I just shook my head honestly. Elise was stunned. No way, can't. Her voice was so loud that several people in the restaurant turned to look at us. I quickly grabbed her hand. Lower your voice. People are watching. Elise lowered her voice, but still looked at me in shock. Seriously, he can't. I shook my head again. It's not that, we've never even tried. Hearing that, Elise looked even more baffled. That's even harder to believe than him not being able to. A guy like Julian, a true sea king, has zero reaction to a beauty like you. Now that she mentioned it, I also felt something was off. It was a marriage of convenience, but we were still legally married. I had prepared myself for the possibility of marital relations. Yet Julian had been sleeping in the guest room all this time, never even stepping into the master bedroom. The rumors said he constantly brought women home, but to this day, I hadn't seen so much as a female mosquito, let alone a real person. Except for that friend, who cooked for us on weekdays. Just as I was lost in thought, Elise, who was scrolling on her phone, suddenly gasped. I frowned. What's wrong? Why did she react like that? Elise looked up, her expression grim. Hannah, seriously, Julian isn't with you. Do you know what he's doing right now? This was a famous networking party in our circle, almost everyone was here. But when I was leaving, Julian said he had an urgent meeting, so I came alone. I answered truthfully. He said he had an emergency meeting. Elise's face turned even uglier. What is it? Elise sighed, as if there was nothing left to say. Just open the latest entertainment news. I took out my phone. The breaking headline hit me. Chu family's young master spotted dating a lover in a bar. I breathed a sigh of relief. I thought it was something serious. After all, Julian still transferred me 10 million won a month and even had his mistress cook for me. If he wasn't up to something, that's when I'd feel uneasy. At least now I felt reassured. Elise saw my silence and asked worriedly, Hannah, are you okay? Julian is too much. He's already married and still fooling around like this, and on the day of a major social gathering, it's like a public slap in your face. Elise was furious on my behalf, but I just waved my hand. It's fine, he's a sea king after all. Before we got married, I was already prepared for this. But just then, my phone vibrated. I looked down, it was a text from Julian. Hannah, the party should be ending soon, right? I know you don't like Western food, so I asked my friend to cook some of your favorite dishes. The message included a photo of a table full of my favorite foods. I froze. Wasn't Julian at a bar with his mistress? I opened the news article again and looked closely. The person in the photo had a similar build to Julian, but you couldn't see their face clearly. Elise saw me staring at my phone, assuming I was secretly heartbroken despite saying I was fine. She pulled me to my feet. What's so great about Julian? His family has money, but so does mine. Let's go home, pack your things and move in with me. I followed Elise, trying to explain quietly. Elise, it's not what you think, we might be mistaken. But Elise was furious and wasn't listening. She dragged me into the car and drove straight home. Standing at the door, I tried to convince her again. Elise, this really could be a misunderstanding. Elise glared at me, exasperated. Hannah, even now, you're still defending him. The Lin family might not be as rich as the Chu family, but I'm your best friend. I can't just watch you be treated like this. Open the door. Pack your bags and come home with me. I had no choice but to open the door. Elise stormed in. That dog Julian probably isn't even home at this hour, right? But the next second, Julian heard the noise and came out from inside. The two stared at each other. The atmosphere froze. Elise was stunned. Why are you home? You're the Sea King, shouldn't you be at a bar right now? Julian looked uncomfortable. He grabbed a jacket. I just came back to get something. I'm leaving now. And with that, he walked right out. After Julian left, Elise shook her head. I really thought I misunderstood him. Turns out a leopard can't change its spots. But when she turned around, she saw the table laden with delicious food. 20 minutes later, Elise was sitting at the table, eating happily. Did Julian cook this? I had no idea he was such a good cook. I thought for a moment and decided to tell the truth. He didn't make it. His mistress did. She cooks, then leaves. It's like this every day. Clatter. Elise dropped her chopsticks. She stared at me, wide-eyed. White Hannah, are you guys serious? The mistress cooks for the wife. That's a new one. I looked awkward, unsure how to explain it. Don't tell me you've become part of their game. I froze. I had never considered that possibility before. A true sea king, next level tactics. Elise's casual remark left me stunned. In the following days I started unconsciously paying attention to Julian's actions. I didn't care if he was a philanderer, but I didn't want to be a prop for him and his mistress to express their affection. I noticed that after every meal, Julian would quickly clear the dishes, as if afraid I'd steal his chance to clean up. I offered to help, but he flatly refused. He wouldn't even let me touch the edge of a bowl, treating each one like a treasure as he carried them to the kitchen. Several times, while he was washing dishes, I tried to clean the house a bit. But the moment he heard any noise, Julian would react instantly, running out to grab the mop from my hands. Just go rest in your room. The housework is my job. I felt a little hurt. Julian had a serious case of mysophobia. He didn't like outsiders in the house, so he didn't even hire a maid. I used to worry that living together would make cleaning a hassle. But now I saw I had worried for nothing. Julian seemed determined not to let me touch anything in the house. Could he really hate me that much? But I was afraid I was overthinking it. So, I went to ask Elise. Elise, what do you think it means if a complete germaphobe is willing to let someone use their kitchen, but won't let that same person help clean up? Elise answered instantly, without even thinking. That's easy. People with mysophobia are usually extremely possessive. If he lets someone use his kitchen, it means he trusts them a lot. But if he won't let them clean, it can only mean he dislikes them and doesn't want them touching his things. Hearing this, I lowered my head, my heart sinking. So, I wasn't overthinking it. Julian really does hate me. He hates me so much he'd rather do all the housework himself than let me touch a single thing. Seeing me bow my head in silence, Elise started to look suspicious. The person you're talking about, it's not you, is it? That night, I tried the tactic Elise taught me. After showering, I changed into a thin, silk nightgown and lounged on the living room sofa. Julian was mopping the floor. He saw me dressed so scantily, but had absolutely no reaction. Suddenly, he bent down. I thought he was going to kiss me. But he just reached for the remote control next to me. Hannah, the AC is on too high in the living room. You're not wearing much. Let me turn the temperature up a bit. I gritted my teeth, unsure whether to be disappointed, angry, or amused. While his back was turned, I left the prepared divorce papers on the sofa and quietly returned to my room. I've made up my mind. If he really hates me this much, then I should set him free. And set myself free. Why bother clinging to a marriage where you know the other person doesn't want you? This kind of subtle, gnawing rejection is worse than being rejected outright. I sat in my room, waiting for Julian's reaction, but there was no sound. I went back out. The divorce papers were still in the same spot. He probably hadn't seen them. So, I picked them up and walked toward the study to find him. Just as I reached the door, I heard his sobs from inside. Fachuan, guess what I just saw? Divorce papers. She wants to divorce me. It's been 3 years. I've taken care of her for 3 years, given her 10 million won every month, cooked for her every single day. And I still couldn't move her. The shit he was talking about, could that be me? A second later, his best friend's exasperated voice rang out. I told you to stop this act. You're her husband, so why are you building this Sea King image? I froze. Could it be that Julian's Sea King persona was all a lie? I stood outside the door, hearing Julian still complaining. Fachuan, you've dated so many people. Teach me some tricks. The person inside laughed as if provoked. Give me a break. Who would dare to teach you? You're the most famous Sea King in our circle. Julian, I've told you so many times, don't try to force your way into a place you don't belong. The two went back and forth, deep in conversation. Standing outside, I actually found it quite interesting. Suddenly, the doorknob turned. I couldn't move out of the way in time. I came face to face with Julian as he opened the door. Our eyes met, the air froze. His expression was full of vigilance. Hannah, when did you get here? I was flustered but tried to stay calm. Just now. I held up the divorce papers in my hand. I have something I need to talk to you about. Julian saw the papers and his face changed slightly, but he acted as if nothing was wrong. I'm a little busy right now. Can we talk about this in a few days? Busy? Yeah, I just heard you asking your friend for dating advice. But I didn't expose his lie. I just shook my head. It's nothing. Go on. Be busy. I went back to my room, pressed my ear to the door, and listened. Julian's voice was now tinged with excitement. Fuchuan, you were right. I just put on a cold face and told her I was busy, and she didn't dare mention the divorce again. I was stunned. After Julian left, I sat alone on the bed. Reflecting on our 3 years together. He left for work at 8 a.m. On weekdays, he usually got home before me, already sitting at the dining table. He said his friend cooked dinner, but every time I sat next to him I could smell cooking oil on him. After eating, Julian always cleaned everything up himself. Around 9 p.m. he would go to his room. The rumors said Julian was a hopping all-nighter, but in reality, his evenings were spent in his study or his own room. He went out even less than I did. How could someone like that have time to be a siking? Could it be that Julian really wasn't a siking? And judging by his reaction, it seemed like he might even like me. For some reason, the corners of my mouth started to curl up. I took out my phone and called Elise. She picked up almost immediately. Elise, I have massive news to tell you. Hannah, I have something to tell you. You go first. No, you go first. Elise cleared her throat. Okay, I'll go first. Julian's white moonlight is back. I heard she came back specifically for Julian and wants to marry him. He's had a crush on her for years. Now that she's back, he'll definitely run straight to her. What perfect timing. You don't like Julian and his white moonlight comes back. You're finally free from that sea king. In that moment, the smile on my face froze.
Oh, right, Hannah.
What were you going to tell me? I stammered. Oh, it's nothing, I think. I must have misunderstood something. It's not important. Elise didn't notice the disappointment in my voice and just prattled on. Shocking, right? You're speechless too, huh? Me too. That's why I had to call you. It's unbelievable. Even a sea king like Julian has someone willing to take him. Doesn't she know how many scandals he's had these past few years? Elise said this was a huge celebration. And she rushed straight to my house to drag me to a bar. Half an hour later, I was sitting in the noisy bar, feeling restless. This was the first time in my life I had ever set foot in a bar. Elise, however, was perfectly at ease. Laughing and clinking glasses with some guys nearby, I tugged her sleeve. Elise, it's my first time here, I'm a little scared. Maybe I should just go home. Elise pushed me back down. Relax, I know what a scaredy cat you are. This place is full of handsome guys tonight, young cute puppy types. She winked at me. Just then, one of the puppy types next to us raised his glass to me. First time here. It's okay, we don't come often either. We just have a few drinks, chat, and make new friends. I held my glass, hesitating. Elise grabbed my hand and clinked glasses for me. Hannah, toughen up. Think about it. Your sea king husband has been to this place more times than he's been home. You can't even handle one drink. Hearing her say that, I felt she had a point. So, I clinked glasses and downed it. But I forgot that I'm a terrible drinker. After just one glass, I was dizzy and quickly spiraled into a drunken mess. According to Elise's memory, I clung to her and started crying. I demanded she tell me everything about Julian and his white moonlight. Hannah. What's wrong? Are you drunk? No, I'm not drunk. Now tell me about Julian and his white moonlight. Elise was panicking. I don't know much about them. It's all just rumors I heard. I was sprawled on the sofa, slurring my words. Tell me what you heard. Otherwise, I'm just an idiot who doesn't know anything. Elise, left with no choice, racked her brain and told me everything she'd heard. Julian's white moonlight. Her name is Chen Lu Jiao. They were childhood neighbors, childhood sweethearts. He was in love with her for years. I heard Julian wasn't always a sea king. It was only after Chen went abroad that he started with the drinking, clubbing, and flirting. They say he only became like this because of her. And her family background is a mystery, we've never been able to find out who she is. So that's how it was. He was putting on this sea king act for another woman. Julian was such a bastard. Just as I was shouting this, Julian's face suddenly appeared right in front of me. His expression was full of hurt. Hannah, why are you yelling at me? I immediately grabbed his cheeks and pinched them. Hard. Because you lied to me. You're a liar. I don't remember how long I pinched him. I just remember falling asleep after that. The next morning, I woke up in my own bed. I instinctively looked down. I was wearing nothing. Next to me was a shirtless, sleeping Julian. He squinted, lazily wrapping an arm around me. Why are you up so early? You were so tired last night. Sleep a little more. What do you want to eat? I'll make you breakfast. I froze. Julian. Why are we sleeping together? What happened last night? Julian chuckled. We're husband and wife, isn't it normal to sleep together? Besides last night, my heart stopped. Last night, what did I do? Julian's face was full of teasing. Last night, you saw me at the bar, lunged at me, and wouldn't stop pinching my face. You made me take you home. Then, the second we got in the door, you started ripping my shirt off, muttering something about "I'll show you what I'm made of." I immediately clapped my hand over his mouth. "'Nuff, that's enough. You don't need to say any more." All the memories of last night came flooding back. I squeezed my eyes shut in despair. I swear for the rest of my life, I will never set foot in a bar again. But Julian had no intention of letting me off. At breakfast, he pushed a plate of fried eggs toward me. "Look, Hannah. Do these eggs look like what I'm made of?" My face turned bright red while he grinned, clearly enjoying having this leverage over me. Fine. If he wanted to play, I'd play back. I instantly calmed myself and shot back, repeating his words from the other night. It's been 3 years. I've served her for 3 years, given her 10 million won every month, cooked for her every day, and I still can't move her. Julian, you're a talented actor, you deserve an Oscar. Even your friend said. Don't try to force your way into a place you don't belong. Look at yourself. In an apron, holding a spatula, living like a house husband. What part of you looks like a sea king? As soon as I finished, Julian suddenly looked panicked. Hannah. You heard all that? You know everything. Seeing his expression, I was even more certain of my guess. He really was pretending to be a sea king for his white moonlight, and now he was panicking because he got caught. It's fine. This was just a marriage of convenience. It's understandable that you don't like me. I don't mind. Julian stared at me intently. Hannah. If you knew I wasn't really like that, you wouldn't like me anymore, right? We both spoke at the same time, then froze, staring at each other in shock. What? Who said I don't like you? What? If you knew who I really am, you wouldn't like me anymore. Julian lowered his head, mumbling, didn't you used to say, you don't like boring, slow guys? I was confused. When did I ever say that? Julian suddenly brought up ancient history. It turned out Julian and I went to the same high school. Back then, Elise and I were the 2 most popular girls in school, at least, according to Julian. Whenever the school had an event, they'd drag us out to be the MCs. Because of that, according to him, we attracted a horde of male fans. I tried to remember my high school days, but I didn't recall me and Elise being that big of a deal. I just remember being forced to host events was pure torture. The teachers treated us like free labor. As for fans, they were just a bunch of shy kids who secretly stuffed love letters into our desks. Julian shot me a resentful look. I was one of those shy boys who sent you a love letter. I laughed. Really? Julian nodded. Really? After I wrote the letter, I even waited around to see if you'd read it. But then I heard you and your friend saying you don't like boring, bland guys. You only like the Playboy type, the kind who are clearly popular with girls. You said it exactly like that. Weren't you insulting me? I racked my brain. That did sound vaguely familiar. But I couldn't help but laugh. Julian looked even more wounded. You remember, don't you? And you're still laughing. Do you know how heartbroken I was that day? I laughed even harder. Julian. Do you have any idea how many love letters we got every day? How could we possibly know who sent what, let alone remember who liked what type of guy? Wait, boring, Playboy. I remember. Elise and I were obsessed with an anime, and we were talking about the main character. Now it was Julian's turn to blush. Oh, so that's what it was. I stared at him. Don't tell me. Because of one stupid comment back then, you've been hung up on it for years. And even built this Sea King persona. Julian didn't say anything, which was a silent confirmation. After a long moment, he shyly looked up. So, do you like the person I am now? I couldn't resist teasing him. What kind of person? The Sea King. Because I don't like Sea Kings. He immediately shook his head. No, not the Sea King part. Hannah, I'm really a good guy. All that news. I paid the reporters to write it. I hate bars. I've never brought a single girl home. I laughed and ruffled his hair. After living with you for 3 years, how could I not know that? When Elise found out about me and Julian, she practically exploded. What? Hannah, you and Julian are playing the marry first, love later game. I can't believe he's actually such a pure guy. But then she frowned. By the way, did you ask him about that white moonlight Chen? I heard she just got back a few days ago. And tonight, she's having dinner with Julian's parents. Did he tell you? Hearing that, I immediately opened my phone. Julian had sent a text saying he was having dinner with his parents, but he didn't say who else would be there. I started to have doubts. What, exactly, was the relationship between Julian and Chen? That night when he got home, I thought about it and decided to ask. Who did you have dinner with tonight? Julian answered quickly, without hesitation. My parents. I already texted you. He wasn't telling the truth. I froze, not knowing how to react. Seeing my silence, Julian stepped closer. Hannah, don't be angry. I didn't mean to hide it from you. My parents called me and my older brother over to discuss dividing company shares. My brother and I, we don't get along. We would have ended up fighting. I didn't want you to have to sit through that. If you want to meet my parents, how about I invite them to have dinner with us this weekend? His voice was soft and gentle. I had been feeling upset, but that calmed me down somewhat. Still, I couldn't stop myself from asking. Then why was Chen at the dinner tonight? Everyone is saying she's your white moonlight. This time, it was Julian's turn to be completely stunned. Who is spreading that nonsense? Half an hour later, I arrived at Julian's parents' house and I saw Chen. I froze stiff when I saw in front of me an adorable golden retriever. Julian, your dog is named Chen. The housekeeper standing nearby chuckled and explained, young madam, this golden belonged to the old neighbors. They didn't have any children, so they treated him like their own son and named him Chen. After the couple passed away in an accident, the young master brought him here to care for him. No wonder Elise said she couldn't dig up any background on Chen. What kind of family history could a sweet, obedient dog possibly have? Julian looked at my bewildered expression, seeming both exasperated and amused. Hannah, from now on, you are not allowed to listen to those ridiculous rumors. I knew I was in the wrong. I could only nod shyly and obediently admit my mistake. Just then, Julian leaned in close to my ear and whispered, so, since you misunderstood me so badly, don't you think you should compensate me somehow? I was so hopelessly naive at that moment that I nodded in agreement, having no idea I was about to face a long, endless night. The next morning, I woke up feeling sore all over. The moment I opened my phone, I saw a message from Elise. So, did you get the story on the white moonlight? Before I could even reply, Julian snatched the phone from my hand. You still have the strength to hold your phone. I guess that means I didn't satisfy you properly. The deepest lesson is to never judge a person or a relationship by rumors and outward appearances. The worst misunderstandings are often born from insecurity and a simple lack of direct communication. True love isn't found in grand declarations, but in quiet, persistent actions, like 3 years of cooking and care.